Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with life. And I want to tell you the first thing I need to do is to tell you it's getting pretty darn warm in my kitchen. The temperature has really shot up today, and the air conditioner kicked in, and I just realized I've been sitting in the air conditioned area, and it's like, no, I cannot cook at this heat. So, a very warm welcome to you all. Tonight, we're going to be doing a number of things. I'm going to talk to you about how to save a lot of money on celery and on Montreal steak spice. And I'm also going to be cooking up a vegetable casserole to show you why it's so important to not throw away your vegetables and to use them. And then thirdly, we're going to make some carrot ginger soup if I'm up to that. So first of all, let me just say that I've got a stack of stuff here, and my air fryer there. By the way, if you don't like heat in your kitchen, I cannot tell you how much I value that air fryer. Even though it's at the moment has just finished cooking at 375, it gives off so little heat. It's amazing. So not only do I love it for lots of reasons, but in the summer, I really enjoy it. And you're probably wondering, what's that under the tin foil? You want to see? Like that. And for all of you who know how much I have loved learning how to bake bread, how many of you would love to be able to bake that? And I'm actually delighted with it. I did it in a different container today. I normally do pitas, but today I really wanted to do that. I'm going to let it cool a bit, and then Jody will see how the crumb is. So I like to cover mine up as it cools because that keeps although I've got the really nice crust, it just softens it so it makes it easy to slice, which is a really good idea. Um, right, so here we go. First of all, I had a little bit of leftover dry pasta. Yeah. So Jody will tell me what that is. I never know what these things are. Anyway, so what I did is I cooked it in some vegetable broth. And I make my own vegetable seasoning. Here it is. Make it, dehydrate it, shred it, dry it, and here it is. How do I do that? I don't throw away the ends of vegetables. All this will go into a stock pot and just on a very low temperature, because of the heat, very low temperature while I'm binge watching tonight, that will just stew away. And then when it's cooked, I will just strain it and keep it. I actually will blend it and then let it dehydrate. And I will have two things. I will have vegetable broth, water here, and then I will also have really nice stuff to dehydrate and turn into vegetable seasoning. Now, some of you are saying, why would I bother? I'd rather buy the stuff. If you've got that sort of money, that is wonderful. So first things first, I wanted to let you know for those who are interested, you can probably see there I've got celery. I used to buy celery like 4 sticks at a time, and it cost me the same as a whole bunch. So now this is a new bunch that came in today. I'm literally using the last of the previous one. I bought it on May the 2nd. I checked it back, and it cost me $4.45 on May the 2nd. And I just bought a second one today. So it lasted me just about a month. Isn't that incredible? And I just bought this one today, and it was $2.20 something. Great time to buy celery. Now, the second thing I was talking about at lunchtime was that I buy Montreal steak spice. And I had this was full originally, and it lasted me, I think, close to 5 years. It's just amazing. So I decided rather than buy a little bottle, and I would buy loose Montreal steak spice and then refill my own bottle. All right. So I'm no more plastic, just the plastic I've already got. What I did is it came in just a baggy thing, which is plastic, but I can recycle that as single-use plastic, so that's fine. And here's the difference. I could have bought it in something this size, and it would have cost me about $6.50 Canadian, okay, in the glass bottle. In other words, it would have cost me $3.45 per 100 grams, which is about 3 ounces. All right. So that's the one way I could have bought it, and I chose not to. I could have bought it in a little pack, and that would have cost me, I could have replaced this. All right. And that would have cost me $17.49 or $2.12 for 100 grams, but I would have had plastic with it as well. I managed to get this for $7.16, which would be $1.79 per 100 grams. Remember, like this, it would have cost me close to $5 for 100 grams. Here, it cost me $1.79, and it'll last me for 5 years. $1.79 per 100 grams or 3 ounces. Pretty good. So we're doing a lot of leftovers today because I'm trying to use up stuff in my freezer. So I've got the cannelloni. Let's call it cannelloni because I think it looks a lot like that. Penne? Yeah, I think I've already cooked it there, Jody. So let's call it cannelloni just for the sake of it. I can't remember what it was because I buy it in bulk. I don't buy it in a box. So I cooked it. Remember that. I cooked it in vegetable stock. All right. And I'm going to add to it some mushroom soup. Whenever mushroom soup does a case lot sale at my grocery, I buy 12, and it lasts me all year. So here we go. I'm going to add half a can of condensed mushroom soup. We're just going to stir that in. Doesn't have to be perfectly simulated because it's still going to cook, and that will help it do that. All right, and let's see what else I've got here. I've got some microgreens that I've been growing. I'm going to throw those in. I've got some leftover carrot, some peas from the deep freeze. I've got some bok choy that I'm putting in. Just looking to see what else is in here. Oh, and some leeks also. So let's put all of that in. And now I'm also going to put in some fresh onion. Just going to put that away for a second. Yeah. So I'm not going to put this in the. Jeannie's saying she thinks it's rigatoni. So pasta. How about that? Covers everything, right? So now I'm going to put it back in the oven and let it cook at 350 for about 20 minutes just to cook the onion. And one of the things I would say, if you're cooking anything that's liquid in an air fryer, just make sure it's covered so that not too much liquid evaporates into the air fryer itself. Okay. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to do the au gratin. That is the cheese covering I'm going to do it with. I'm going to do it with? Where did that come from? I'm going to cover it with. So what I've got, and again, this is using up stuff that I'm trying to use up. I've got some of these wonderful French's onions left over from the camping trip. I've got some homemade breadcrumbs. And we've got some Parmesan cheese. How many of you know that making cheese is also on my list of things to learn in this lifetime? Okay, so I'm going to put right, so there we've got it. Jeannie's saying she likes to do stuffed rigatoni dish with hamburger and red sauce. That's delicious. I'm sure it is. All right, so I'm just going to whip that up. All right, so that's all incorporated, nice and easy to do. Nothing too strenuous about that. So this can go back in the fridge. Might keep it just to sprinkle a bit of fresh over the top. And we can put that away. Okay, so I'm just going to put some water in my blend, the little bullet here. And what I'm going to do is put in the other part of the onion, or at least half of it. Don't think it will need it all because I'm trying not to cook too much of it. Otherwise it will need freezer space, and I don't have freezer space. There we go. And I'm going to chop up the carrot. So these are carrots that are beginning to be past their prime in my fridge, and I got fresh carrots today from the store. How many carrots do you allow per person per week? I try to make sure I eat at least 2 big carrots a week. Yeah. That can go in. Now then, do you guys buy fresh ginger, or do you just get dehydrated in the spice bottle? I get fresh ginger, and then I cut it into slices, and this, I actually blended it up and then just put it in the freezer, and that's just one little cube that I unpacked, and I'm going to put that in. So we got carrot and ginger, that's good. And oh, I forgot to put this into the casserole. These are leftover ends of brie cheese. Hold on one second. Can I mix that in? And I'm just going to cut it up into little bits. Give it a bit of a stir. Put the lid back on. There we go. Jody, I want to thank you for teaching me to keep the ends of my brie cheese. Until I met you, I didn't do that. I threw them away. But now I must admit they're great for putting in something like this. Jody's saying, I get fresh ginger in the little frozen individual pods from Walmart. It's great. And I also get garlic the same way. Obviously, If you're a garlic person, feel free to put garlic in there. I'm allergic, so that's why you never see me put it in. And Jeannie's saying, I loved cooked carrots, but I did not use many because it's a vegetable my husband disliked. Now I occasionally will cut up a carrot for the little foxes. She's got the little fox family living outside in her backyard. Jeannie also says she buys frozen ginger pods. I buy fresh ginger and make my own ginger pods. And Jody is saying, oh yes, the ends of cheese are perfect to add to casseroles and soups. And she also saves Parmesan rides. Actually, you know something? I've never bought Parmesan and grated it myself. I must admit I'm lazy about that. Okay, so now then, we've got carrot, onion. What about, all right, I've got some dried chives. So I'll put those in as well. And just dehydrated in my fridge. I really recommend that if you've got chives, as soon as you get them, chop them up into little pieces and just put them in the fridge in an open container and just leave them there. And the fridge will air dry them and they'll still keep their color, as you can see. Takes about 10 days. Amazing. And then because you cut it immediately, the green onion will continue to grow. This one's nearly ready for my next one. They normally last me a month like this. I used to buy green onion every week. By the way, I've got a garden full of it, so I will not be buying it in the near future. I have to remember that I actually do have a garden full of it. So what I'm going to be doing is harvesting it and then drying it, and then I will give dehydrated chives to my friends, part of my Christmas stocking. All right, so let's blend this up. How difficult was that? Instant soup. What we're going to do is to let it cook. Let me think here. How much time have I got? Yeah, I'll put it in once the other one is basically done. Now I'm leaving it, I'm not straining it and just having the juice. I'm putting it all in there because all that good vegetable fiber is very good for me. So that's why I leave it all in there. I haven't seasoned it. I find that seasoning it before it's cooked is actually a waste of time and you end up with the long one, the wrong taste. Good night to you, Jeannie. Sleep well. So what I do is I cook it first and then I start tasting it to see what it needs. So that's what we're going to do. And it's just done. I mean, really, how simple was that? And what I will do, if we don't have time to do it during the broadcast, I will just, after the casserole has finished, I will just put it in there and leave it for probably half an hour to get all those different flavors assimilating. And then I will have probably two helpings of soup for the week in there. And I still have some onion and some carrot left over. So they're going to go back in the fridge. I want a container for the onion, don't I? Hold on a second. And this is a container that some frosting came in, and they are so useful for storing stuff in the fridge. Here we go. And all I do is I take my dry erase pen and remind myself what's in there because it's so easy to forget. So this is half onion. Actually, it's a quarter. And carrot. Okay. Nice and easy to see what's in there. And what I like about them, I can stack them up, with all the things showing, so I know what to use up next. Oh, and this, I don't know if you noticed, this is a gum container, and they're absolutely perfect for keeping spices in, dehydrated stuff in. I've got basil, leeks, chive. I got another one of chives. I've got quite a lot of chive. That's why I'm using it up. Now, here's where I need some input this week. I ordered more grapes and not realizing I already had a bag. All right? So, with all your creativity, and I know you guys have got lots, what would you do with a bag full of grapes if you didn't have room for them in the freezer? Now, I know that some of you are saying make room for them. So I'm thinking about just taking them off, just loosening off like this, and then freezing them and adding them to smoothies. It'll be one thing. Good green fiber. What else would you do? Give them to the neighbors. Good idea. As you can hear, they're still crisp. Anything else? Let's see how many ideas we can come up with. Yeah, smoothies will work. So I'm definitely, and actually, I've learned another trick that I wanted to show you. Because I know a lot of fruit will go bad now, before I can eat it because of the heat. I've gone back to buying some of my fruit frozen. This came in today, and it was quite a big bag. It was full of air. So what I did was I took the cherries out of there. And what I want you to imagine is how much room that takes up when it was full of air. Okay? Took the cherries out and put them in a medium-sized baggie. That is all the cherries that were in here. Now, how easy is it to freeze this as opposed to freeze this? So part of the reason my freezer is full is I've got it badly contained. So in future, I'm going to, as soon as that sort of stuff comes in, I'm going to take it out of its original packaging and put it into smaller bags so that it takes up less work and you can see what it is, which also helps. All right, so Jody is also adding it's a good idea to have grapes with my cheese. And I do that. So I will definitely be having it with my cheese and crackers at night. But I think it's a good idea to give some of it away. Very good idea. Thank you. I hadn't thought of that. Okay, we've got 4 minutes to go before we put the topping on and then just let it cook a little bit more. Now, just because I'm making this as a vegetable casserole, there's nothing to stop you adding meat into it. It will be awesome if you throw some bacon in there. Great if you've got some leftover ham. Okay. So I keep my Jello containers. These. What if I pureed them? If I pureed them and then had them, like I have. That's a good idea, actually. If I pureed them, I could have them like I have applesauce, right? Puree them and just cook them a little bit to make sure that there are no bugs or anything. And I think if you're going to freeze any fruit, it's a good idea just to give it a zap of a little bit of cooking. So that's a very good idea, actually, Jody. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put them, but I could make room in the freezer, both for some that are whole that I can put into, I can just drop them in like ice cubes into my smoothies. Make the smoothie and then just drop grapes in there. Like that idea. And what I love about talking about these things together is it's called synergy. My one idea triggers your idea, triggers a second idea from me. So, it's like, that's why I love to talk about these things. So we've got some answers. All right, so I know what to do with that lot. Looks good. Looking good, people. Smells good too. You can see me being a little gentle with everything. I've already burnt myself. Can you see that there? I've already burnt myself once today. Once is enough. Okay. Oh, let's see if it's pretty good actually. Now what I'm going to do is now put this more than half of this away because it's too much for one meal. And here's what I've discovered. All right. I'm going to put these into the magic 1 cup sections. And then when I decide to eat it, I'll put it into my calendar so I know I've got to eat it. But here's what I found. I can choose to either have a vegetable casserole or I can blend it all up into soup and just have the soup with soup and salad for dinner. Do you understand? It makes it very versatile. Or when I cook it again, I can decide, do I want to add some leftover ham to it or whatever else I might have in the fridge. All right, so it's very versatile, but here is the base. Wait. that leaves just enough for tonight's meal. Okay, so using half a can of mushroom soup, leftover vegetables, a little bit of leftover pasta, I have made basically 3 meals. And because that is great just as it is, and what I'm going to do is just use up the other half of the can and have that tonight. That cool. Oh, now what I'm going to do All right, and the other thing I need to use up are tomatoes. So I've got some tomatoes here. Talking of tomatoes, I took a happy snap for you. There is my first tomato of the year, and it's got more flowers around it, so I should have about 8 tomatoes on that one stem. But look at that, so exciting! And it's actually, when you look at the actual plant, all right, this is it. This is the tomato right here. So the plant is growing beautifully, and I've just planted today the second generation. So very exciting. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just halve some tomatoes. And you can already see this in its own is going to be 2 meals for me. So we will have basically, with 1 can of soup, created 4 meals. What I'm going to do with them, I'm not quite sure. But one will go in the fridge. The other half of this will stay in the fridge. And I'll have it later this week. And the other 2, I will make room in the freezer for them. All right, so basically, as Jody said, what we've got here is a pretty healthy meal, quite honestly. It's got protein in it. It's got some cheese in it, which is protein as well. It's not a bad meal, especially if I portion control it and only have half of it. So This one will cool and then it'll go in the freezer. And this one, I'm going to just put it back in the oven at 350 and let that topping crisp up and get crunchy. Because I like that. And in the meantime, here is the bread I cooked. It's still warm. And I often wonder, is there anything better to eat than warm bread and butter? So let's see how the crumb went. Aha. All right, so here we go. All right, so this is my multigrain bread. It has some white flour, some whole wheat flour, some rye flour, some oats. It also has chia seeds and flax in it, and very tasty. It tastes almost like a nutty bread, and I love it. So I'm going to need to get some butter out. And that'll be my treat later. As I said, it took me a long time to learn how to bake my own bread, but I don't think I've bought bread since we went into the pandemic, which is really when I started baking it in earnest. So how much money, I wonder, have I saved? The other thing is, what I will do is slice this up and then freeze it in slices so that I'm not tempted to have half a loaf of bread this evening. And that will last me quite a while because I mostly have my pitas. I make pita every week, these frozen ones. So every day I allow myself one pita, which I put with cheese and cucumber, and sometimes I put ham in there, and I put microgreens. All right, so that's my lunch every day. Please don't throw your old vegetables away. Use them. And it's amazing. I keep thinking how much in my life I have thrown away out of my kitchen. I'm trying to learn to buy less. Today, I had my grocery order and I spent half as much as I usually spend. And I was quite astounded at how much money I had saved. And now this is because I am forcing myself to eat. I am allowed to have fresh fruit. I'm allowed to have some fresh vegetables, but basically the rest of it has to come out of the freezer and I'm starting to use it up. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was very simple. I'm certain it's something that you all can do and you will do your own version of it. Quite honestly, a vegetable casserole is as versatile as you want to. You could throw tuna in there. You can throw, a tofu. If you're into tofu, you can throw tofu into there. Very, very, very versatile. And as I said, you make the choice. Do I want to have it as a casserole dish, or do I want to just let it thaw and then blend it up as a soup? Either way, very, very healthy for you, and it will increase. Now, how many of you know that it's possible that lot could get blended and I could be dunking fresh bread into soup later on? That's a possibility, isn't it? Or maybe I'll do half of it and eat it as a casserole, and then half of it I will blend up as a soup. And you're going, but you put the topping on it. It won't matter, I can assure you. This is DearMamaSal saying, we can save a lot of money if we shop smart. Wait a minute. One thing before you go. One thing. I was going to tell you tonight how I save money shredding my own cheese rather than buy it shredded. Interesting. Today, I luckily checked the price of shredded cheese before I bought a block. I was able to get 500 grams, that's a pound, I think, of shredded cheese. This is a mix of mozzarella and cheddar for less than I could buy the block. So keep your eyes open. Just, buy large if you can, but also know every now and then it's cheaper to buy it pre-shredded. How they do it at that price, I have no idea. I couldn't do it for that price. So I got some. If I had room in my freezer, I probably would have got two. This is DearMamaSal saying thanks for being here. Hope it gave you some ideas. Yeah, Isabel's saying that bread would be so nice with a bowl of soup. That's what I'm thinking as well. I'll have the casserole tomorrow. I might actually cut another slice of bread. I don't know about you. There's something about dunking bread into soup that is just well worth the effort. This is DearMamaSal saying, keep cool. We've got a heat wave that came in today. I'm pleased to say that my air conditioner kicked in, but it was just like, my living room faces north, and it gets sort of northwest, and so it gets that afternoon high heat. it kicked in at 80, and I went, yes, please, thank you very much indeed. So now I'm going to sit and cool off, and thank you all for being here. We'll see you on Sunday when we'll talk about coping with stress. Thanks. Bye-bye for now. Thanks, Jody.